Micros then making their way round for their rolling start. Not sure we're going to get the grid sorted, but it's going to be an intense battle between Minto, Loudy and Roberts as they come over the line. We'll see, make sure that they get round again. It's a false start, which means that I'm going to be able to have a chat with my good friend Tom Hannon. Tom, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good. So your driver's done reasonably well today as he made his way into the A final at the first time of asking for the first time.
Yeah, super proud of him. Absolutely pulled out of the bag, so yeah, see how we get on.
Emotional times for you? I know that we
yeah, a few tears.
thought there might be. So where's he going off in the final? We had a look for grid positions.
17th, I think.
So that's good. Like I say, it was his first time going straight into the A final as we see the grid up there for our Micro Maxes. So Tom, if you stick around for a couple of minutes while we get ourselves going, Optima Motorsport there on the screen, we'll wish them all the very best of luck. Thank you for their sponsorship. We wish them all the very best of luck as they make their way from Paul Ricard to Le Mans for the big 24-hour race next week, and they'll be racing in a Porsche in the GTE Pro AM class. We wish them all the very best next week as they head towards Le Mans. I'm sure we'll all be watching and wishing them all the very best in that class with their three-driver lineup of Ben Barnicoat, Ollie McElroy and Brendan Ibree. Over the line we come then for our Micro Max class. The lights are out, we're away and racing. Into the chicane we come then. Roberts has managed to get through past Loudy as Minto then leads the way as they head down towards the second chicane. It's hard on the brakes then for Neeson in 4th place with James Tate. Looks like he's into 5th place. 10 minutes plus 1 lap then for our final here in our Micro class. Then we're going to go for our final in Junior Rotax and then our Honda Cadet one as well. So as the Minis make their way round for the first time, and have another quick chat with Tom as we get them over the line for the first time. Then I'll have a quick chat as to what it's like for as a parent watching out there, watching your driver, what you do to get them ready for a final like this when everything is at stake. Minto then leads the way from Roberts and Loudy, the top 3. Neeson, Tate, Lord, Jones, Brown, Dukes and Simpson complete the top 10 with Riley Buckton-Young and Jack Hutchinson, your 12 runners. So Tom, when you've got your driver out there, what's it like? Do you have to try and keep them calm? Are they excited? What words of advice do you give them when you're going out there on them standing starts on the grid?
Probably don't tell him too much because it'll probably baffle his head a little bit. So quick tap of the helmet, quick fist pump, and off he goes.
And when they're out there getting ready, the carts are sat down there on the dummy grid for the best part of 10 minutes. Are they watching the previous race, or are they sat in the seat just getting themselves calm and ready?
Go and have a quick look at lines, see where we can go. But no, not too much, we don't want to confuse him. But yeah, see how we get on with him.
So off 17th, he's had a really good day so far. Does he think that the top 15's at stake in this one? Or is he just going to go out and have some fun being so far forward?
We'll see what happens. He just wanted to get to the A final, so anything other than that's a bonus. So we'll see how we get on.
Brilliant. Well, we'll keep an eye on 17th place Mason Webster as he goes off in the Honda Cadet A final in around about 20 minutes time. Tom, thank you very much for joining us here in the commentary box. We'll return our focus then onto this Micro Max final, which sees Daniel Minto and James Roberts leading the way from Samuel Loudy in 3rd place. Harry Neeson and James Roberts, the top James Tate, sorry, the top 5. The leading duo, though, have managed to break away ever so slightly from Samuel Loudy, but Loudy staying close enough that should anything happen between Minto and Roberts, he's going to be right there to try and take advantage of it, as we see Caden Simpson making his way round in front of Riley Buckton-Young, 9th and 10th respectively. They've both managed to move in front of Toby Dukes in 11th. There's Roberts, as close as he has been so far in this race to the back of Daniel Minto, but whilst he was close enough to make a move, another driver driving with his head and not really wanting to show his hand too early. 10 minutes plus 1 lap in this final means that you're going to have the best part of 15 laps. So with only 4 in the bag and 1/3 race distance, you really don't want to go too early and become that driver under pressure from the driver behind. Tate goes slightly wide, grabs a bit of curb on exit, and then we'll have to defend from the 30 of Alex Jones, who we know the deeper we go into the race, the quicker Jones seems to get. If he could start races at like 4 minutes in and just rejoin everybody else, he'd be battling for the victory. Alex Jones, a driver that really shows some good pace towards the tail end of the race, but does seem to take a couple of laps to get into the swing of things and get heated up. Minto, though, leading the way still, a tenth between himself and Roberts. Laudy still has a gap of half a second back to them, with Neeson in 4th place, quite comfortable at the moment as well, because James Tate's coming under pressure then from Alex Jones. Behind them, though, that battle of the meet seems to have backed them into Aston Brown and Logan Lauder. James Roberts down the back straight once again, right on the back of Daniel Minto. No attempt at all to overtake, too early, says James Roberts. Still 6 minutes remaining, plus that 1 lap in this final. And Roberts feeling out Daniel Minto in this one, and I imagine that when we get down, that time elapses down to 2 minutes. The problem is I don't think they've got confirmation on time. They're just going to have to count these laps down. I wonder if anybody down there has done the maths as to how many laps these drivers are going to do in this 10 plus 1 final, just to give them enough to then it's whether the drivers remember to count them over the line as they go. James Tate with a big look over the shoulder. Alex Jones with a late dive to the inside. A little bit of contact into the back of James Tate, and that's going to allow Aston Brown to close right back up. One of the few drivers racing on a 900mm chassis, with the Micromax really preferring to run on that 900, but Aston Brown preferring the 900, having tested both. Running in 7th place, right on the back of Alex Jones, who is in turn all over the back of James Tate. James Tate, those defending to the inside. They go 3 different lines into the back chicane as they make their way round in front then of Logan Lauder behind, who's not too far back and will take full advantage if James Tate is defending, as Alex Jones once again tries to dive to the inside. Half race distance then, and James Roberts has found a way through on Daniel Minto. We've missed it on the camera, but Roberts now leading at half race distance on Daniel Minto. Got through on that previous lap. With 4 remaining, we've got had a change for the lead then in our mini class, or micro class, as Tate still under pressure from Alex Jones and Aston Brown. Logan Lauder is closing in the background as well. Minto is back in front of James Roberts, chopping and changing. Roberts with the run down the back straight as they head towards the double right. James Roberts goes through again on Daniel Minto, and he'll lead over the line this time. Behind them, though, Samuel Laudy is closing in, because these two are battling it out now for the lead, and we're going to be 3 drivers battling it out. Though all 3 will be on the podium unless something silly happens, because Neeson's not too far back, though. He's got a second, but he's going to need a bit more out of these lot battling. Minto down the inside into the hairpin at the top. Roberts back to the inside. He's going to have track position, and there's contact between the 2 of them. Side pod to side pod, wheel smoke between the 2 of them, and now it is going to be a 4-kart battle, because that's going to bring Harry Neeson right onto the back of this one. Minto and Roberts, things have definitely heated up between the 2 of them. There's going to be tyre marks down the side. There's Toby Dukes. Looks like that kart stopped and he's going to roll into retirement. We're going to have yellow flags at the first chicane. There he is, being rolled away to safety. Minto then leads over the line. No overtaking opportunities into that first chicane, with Roberts in 2nd place, Laudy, and now Harry Neeson right in the hunt for a podium for the first time within a second of the leaders, right on the back there in the 47 kart. Minto defensive into that first corner of the back chicane. 2.5 minutes remaining, plus that 1 lap. Roberts is going to get that good run down the back straight once again. Minto already has that kart to the inside, defending into the double right. Defense takes a much tighter line in. Roberts gets a good run, don't think he's going to have enough on the inside, and Minto will chop right the way around the outside, and then takes a huge chunk of curb. The move's going to be into this second one here. Will James Roberts make his way through? Minto continuing to lead the way, still nose to tail, and there is Harry Neeson joining in at the end of this race where he wanted to be. Minto to the inside again into the back chicane, defending. 2 minutes remaining as the time continues to elapse here in this Micromax final. Roberts is going to get another good run down the back straight. Minto white lines it to the inside. Roberts will have to try and get the cut back I think he's going to have to think of a plan B really here, because Minto has that move down the back straight scouted on James Roberts. Roberts is going to have to think of another place to find a way through on the 28 machine as Minto goes defensive into the chicane. Roberts gets the run out the corner, not close enough. Minto once again parks the kart in the middle of the track. That might leave him open to attack though from James Roberts. Roberts slots back in. Minto taking every corner of this lap as if it's the last lap, and he's still got 1 minute and 15 remaining, but every single corner Dan Minto is defending that lead from James Roberts. Samuel Lowdy in third place, Harry Neeson in fourth. They've got 3 seconds back. Roberts gets the run down the inside once again, although I don't think he's going to be alongside. He is going to be alongside into the first chicane. Lowdy's going to come through all the way around the outside. Minto holds on to the lead. They're side by side heading for second place. And then Neeson is through down the inside on Lowdy. He might have track position as well. They've dropped away by a couple of kart lengths. We'll see where they come back into position in a few moments' time. It's Neeson up into third place. We now have a 2-kart battle for the lead. Roberts down the inside into the back chicane. Through on Daniel Minto. I knew he'd have to try somewhere else. He made it work down the inside into the back chicane, and now it's James Roberts leading the way from Daniel Minto in this Micro Max final. Over the line they come then with 12 seconds remaining. 2 laps of action then for you in this Micro Max final. Roberts leads from Minto, and now thought he was going to have to defend, but Minto's going to come back down the inside as he knows door closed firmly by James Roberts into the second chicane. Harry Neeson still holding on for third place. He was a second back at half race distance. He's reeled in this battle as they've continued to battle. What we do have in front though is we've got some lap traffic. The blue flag is out there. The leaders are going to have to navigate that as they head down towards the last lap board as they go into the double apex right. Will this really close up the pack as they come through? There's the lap traffic in front heading towards that first chicane for the final time. 2/10 of a second is the gap. James Roberts leads then from Daniel Minto as they head down towards the second chicane. Through they go on that lap traffic. The 2 leaders have managed to get through without trouble. Neeson and Lowdy as well should hopefully get through as well. Let's have a look at them in the background. They have. They're still in the same order. Harry Neeson then leading the way for the final step on this Micro Max podium. James Roberts finding his way through onto the back straight for the final time. Moves across to the inside. Minto's going to have to go all the way around the outside. Hold your breath into the final double apex right. There's contact between the 2 of them. Minto runs it all the way around the outside of the corner, takes the victory from Roberts. Neeson is third for your podium with Lowdy, Brown and Tate then crossing the line. Well, Lauder actually gets 6th with Tate in 7th. Jones then in 8th place, with Riley Buckton-Young losing out to Caden Simpson on the final lap for 9th and 10th. So drama going down the back straight into that final corner. Dan Minto on the outside, sticking it out all the way around the outside. There was contact between our 2 leaders. I thought Neeson was going to come through and take the victory, but he finally gets 3rd place. So as it stands on track anyway, Dan Minto takes the victory from James Roberts, with Harry Neeson completing the podium. You can see there on the right side pod near the number 28 how hard fought that race was between Daniel Minto and James Roberts.